Once upon a time, in the heart of the great Oyo Kingdom, there lived a young woman named Zubaida. She was the only child of King Adisa, a just and powerful ruler who had raised her alone after the tragic loss of her mother during childbirth. The king, known for his wisdom and strength, adored his daughter, providing her with the best life could offer. For 20 years, Zubaida and her father shared an unbreakable bond. She was his pride and joy, and he was her whole world. Their palace was filled with laughter, and their love for each other was unmatched. However, Zubaida had grown possessive over the years, believing that no one else deserved her father's love as much as she did. A new chapter in the palace. One day, King Adisa gathered his chiefs and announced that he was ready to take a new wife. His council rejoiced, for the kingdom had long been without a queen. The woman he chose was Naima, a beautiful and kind-hearted daughter of a neighboring chief. When Zubaida heard the news, her heart turned cold. She could not bear the thought of sharing her father's love. But instead of showing her displeasure, she put on a warm smile and welcomed Naima into the palace with open arms. Deep down, she was already plotting to remove the new queen from her father's life. The first attempt. Zubaida observed Naima carefully, waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike. One evening, she found Naima in the royal kitchen, preparing the king's favorite meal, spiced yam and pepper stew. "You are cooking my father's favorite meal?" Zubaida asked sweetly. "Yes," Naima replied with a smile. "I want to make him happy." Zubaida saw an opportunity. She pretended to be kind and offered to help, but while Naima was distracted, she poured a handful of salt into the stew, ensuring it was inedibly salty. When dinner was served, Zubaida eagerly watched as her father took the first bite, expecting him to spit it out in disgust. But to her horror, King Adisa smiled. "This is wonderful, Naima," he exclaimed. "The salt is just the way my mother used to make it." Zubaida's eyes widened in shock. She quickly tasted the food herself, only to be hit with an unbearable wave of saltiness. How was her father enjoying this? She then realized Naima had served her a different plate, anticipating her trick. Naima gently met Zubaida's gaze and smiled, as if she knew exactly what had happened. Zubaida's blood boiled with anger. She had failed, but she would not give up. The second attempt. Determined to get rid of Naima, Zubaida devised another plan. She snuck into Naima's chambers one night and placed a charm wrapped in red cloth beneath her bed. In the morning, she ran to her father, pretending to be horrified. "Father, Naima is a sorceress," she cried. "I found a charm under her bed." The king rushed to Naima's chambers, only to find the charm exactly where Zubaida had placed it. The guards gasped, and whispers spread through the palace. But before King Adisa could say a word, Naima stepped forward calmly. "My king, search my belongings," she said with confidence. "If I am a witch, there will be more evidence." The king's wise mother, Queen Mother Olabisi, stepped in. She had been silently watching everything. "Let us consult the Orunmila priest," she declared. The priest of wisdom arrived and inspected the charm. Closing his eyes, he spoke. "This charm does not belong to Naima. It was placed here by another, and the one who did this is in this very room." All eyes turned to Zubaida. Her face drained of color as her father looked at her with pain in his eyes. "Zubaida," he whispered. "Why?" Tears streamed down her face, but before she could speak, the Queen Mother stepped forward. "My child," she said gently, "jealousy is a snake that eats the heart of the one who harbors it. You have let it poison your soul. But love is not meant to be caged. It must be shared, or it will wither and die. Zubaida fell to her knees, sobbing. I was afraid of losing you, father. I thought if you loved her, you would stop loving me. King Adisa knelt beside his daughter, lifting her chin. Zubaida, my love for you can never fade. But love is not a river that runs dry. It is an ocean with space for many. You must learn to let others in. Zubaida wept, realizing the truth in her father's words. She turned to Naima, who had shown nothing but kindness, and begged for forgiveness. A lesson. Learned over time, Zubaida worked to change. She no longer let jealousy rule her heart, and instead she grew close to Naima, who forgave her and treated her like a sister. Years later, when Naima gave birth to a son, Zubaida held the baby in her arms, realizing that love was never something to be hoarded. It was something to be shared and multiplied. Moral of the story: jealousy destroys the heart of the one who harbors it. Love is not a limited resource. It grows when shared. The truth always comes to light, no matter how well lies are hidden.